A few years back, I had a job at a gas station. This gas station was in a small town, a bit far from where I originally lived. At that time, I was living in this town because I was fixing up a house I had bought. My plan was to sell it for more than I bought it for. So during the day, I'd work on fixing the house, and at night, I'd go to the gas station to earn some extra money. This gas station was close to a big road, so a lot of people would stop by while traveling. This one night, I was doing the late shift, from 9 in the evening to 5 in the morning. I kinda liked these hours because there weren't many customers, and I could find other stuff to do. Usually, I was the only one at the gas station during these hours. This particular night, for the first couple of hours, there were a few people coming in and out. But by 1 in the morning, it became super quiet. I cleaned the floor, and after that, I just stood behind the cash counter. While I was there, I saw a car driving into our station. It looked like any other black car, but as it came closer, I saw it didn't have any number plates. This car took its time driving around the front part of the gas station, and then it went to the side, where I couldn't see it anymore. After waiting for about 5 minutes, a man entered the shop. I thought he must be the one driving that car. He was super tall, even taller than my tall Uncle Bob, and quite skinny. He wore a dark-colored shirt and some simple gray trousers. He had a straight face, like he was thinking about something important. He entered and looked straight at me. Now, I was at one end of the shop and he was at the other, so he was quite far. He didn't speak, he just stared. I felt weird, so I tried to be friendly and said hi while waving my hand. Instead of replying, he just turned and walked to a different part of the shop. He just stood there, not looking at me, but maybe looking at stuff we were selling, or maybe just staring at the wall. I was really puzzled now and felt a little scared. Then, after a while, he went straight to the restroom at the back of the shop. Some more time went by, like maybe 10 minutes, and he was still in the bathroom. While I was waiting, another car came into the gas station. The driver got gas and then came inside to pay. It felt so good to see a regular person, like just someone normal. I really wanted to chat with them about the tall man, but I thought that it might not be the right thing to do while I was working. Once that customer left, I remembered the man was still in the bathroom and it made me feel uneasy. A whole hour passed by. No one else came to the shop and the man still didn't come out. Thinking I should check it out, I walked towards the bathroom. Our bathroom had 2 places to go, so I thought I could just go in and pretend like I was washing my hands. When I got to the bathroom door, I opened it, but it was super dark inside. I tried the light switch, but it looked like it was already on. That was kind of scary. I then thought of using my phone's light to look inside. I checked the first toilet space and it was empty, but in the second one, I saw the tall man's feet. I moved my phone's light up and saw his face peeking from above the door with the scariest smile. I was so shocked that I let my phone fall. I grabbed it fast and ran outside. Once I was at the cash counter, I kept thinking about what to do next. I didn't want the man to scare other people, but I also didn't want to go back in there. But thinking of my job and the customers, I decided to tell the man to leave. I shouted from the bathroom door asking him to leave, but got no reply. I thought the best thing would be to just put a sign on the bathroom door saying it was not working. Time went by and only a few people came to the shop. And that man, he still didn't leave the bathroom. At around 4 in the morning, my friend Devin, who also works at the gas station, came over. I told him everything. Together we thought we'd check the bathroom. We both used our phone lights to see. But guess what? Both the toilet spaces were empty. The man was gone. It still makes me wonder how he left without me seeing. Every time I think about it, I get the chills. A few years back, I had a job delivering food in a big hotel. One night, I was working the late shift. It was super chill because people didn't order much food at night. So it was kind of surprising when I got an order at 4 in the morning. Someone wanted chicken and cheese, which was a top pick from our late night list. After it was cooked by our chef, I put it on a plate and used the lift to get to the 14th floor, which was the highest one. I walked down the long hallway to the door to give a knock. Here's how it usually goes. You knock, shout, "Food delivery," and when they open, you put the plate on a table inside and hand over a bill for them to sign. One of the cool things about this job was the nice tips people gave. I got good tips mostly. I guess it's because I always delivered the food quickly and didn't chat too much. I knew that folks mainly just wanted to eat. So, when I knocked and waited, I heard some noises inside. Now, hearing sounds isn't weird. Maybe they're turning off their TV or getting up from their seat. But this time it sounded off. There was too much movement, like something was happening inside, something not usual. Honestly, I had no clue what it might be. Then the door opened. A man stood there. He looked like a regular office worker. That's who mostly stayed at our hotel. But he looked really, really tired. I guessed it was because it was super early. While I was putting the plate down, I heard the door click shut behind me. This wasn't strange since hotel doors do that. But then I heard the door lock. I faced him to give the bill, trying to seem calm, even though I felt a bit scared. He was way too happy for such an early hour and began asking me lots of questions about myself, like how old I was and if I lived nearby. I told him I was 19 and didn't really give much away, just said, "Oh, I live not too far." Honestly, I felt a bit scared. I think he saw I was getting uneasy because he kept moving closer while he was signing the bill. Then he looked at me in a really creepy way. It felt like he was looking right through me, and it made me super uncomfortable. Suddenly, he stared directly into my eyes and quickly tried to grab me. I moved super quick to avoid him, jumping onto the bed for some distance. From there, I jumped off and tried to get to the door to escape. I just opened the door a bit when he caught my arm. I screamed super loud, hoping anyone on that floor would hear. He probably didn't want to get into trouble, so he let go of my arm. The moment he did, I raced down the hallway to the special lift for workers. I got in and locked the door as fast as I could. My heart felt like it was racing 1,000,000 miles an hour. I couldn't believe what just happened. Delivering food sometimes meant meeting weird people, and I had imagined bad things happening before, but I never thought it had really happened to me. Reaching the ground floor, I quickly told the person in charge at night about everything. He said he'd call the police right away. I stayed there, waiting until the police arrived. I told them everything I remembered, but when they checked the room, the guy was gone. All that was left was the food I brought, untouched. The strange thing was the name the room was booked under wasn't real, and the room had been paid for with money, so there was no card name or details. My heart felt heavy, knowing that there wasn't much the police could do. All I could tell them was he was tall, had dark hair, and really light blue, almost gray eyes. Nothing else stood out about him, and now he was just out there somewhere. I decided to go home after that. I couldn't work any longer, feeling so scared. What made me even more worried was the fact I told him I lived nearby. What if he saw me leave and tried to follow me? Driving home, the streets were empty. I kept checking my rearview mirror, half expecting to see him. Every little sound or shadow made my heart race again. Once home, I locked all the doors and tried to calm down by watching some TV, but my mind kept thinking of what could have happened if I hadn't escaped in time. After that night, I decided to leave that job. I was too scared that something like that might happen again. I don't think I'll ever work in a hotel again after that scary night. I'm Jack, and I work as a nighttime security guard at a hospital in town. It's a pretty big building, but during the night, not many people are around. Most nights are easy for me. My job involves sitting at a big desk, keeping an eye on the many security cameras scattered around the hospital, and making sure everything's all right. I also do some rounds, walking the hallways, checking doors, and making sure all is quiet. There are always a few nurses and doctors around because, it's a hospital, but other than them, it's mostly just me walking the empty halls and making sure everything's safe. One particularly quiet night, I was sitting at my desk, probably halfway through my shift. The time was around 2 a.m., a time when the hospital is super silent. As I was sipping my coffee, I noticed something on one of the security cameras. In the grainy, dark footage, I saw what looked like a person moving past the camera. Just a brief shadow. This was weird because the camera was focused on a room that should have been empty at that hour. Suddenly, the feed from that camera went blank. My heart started racing because nobody was supposed to be there, and now the camera had mysteriously turned off. Gathering my courage, I decided to investigate. I walked slowly down the hallway, my ears straining for any sound. When I reached the room, I peeked inside, but it was empty. I did notice, however, that someone had taped over the camera that was mounted on the wall. That was strange. This room had a door that connected to another adjacent room, so I decided to check there next. I slowly opened the door and stepped inside. That's when I saw him. A tall man dressed entirely in black clothing. We were about 15 feet apart. Our eyes met, and we just stared at each other for what felt like minutes, but was probably only a few seconds. I was about to ask him what he was doing there, but suddenly he lunged at me. I braced myself, ready to defend myself, but then he did something unexpected. When he was just a few steps away, he suddenly changed his course and started running in the opposite direction. I shouted, "Hey, stop right there!" But he didn't listen. Instead, he ran towards a window, opened it, and jumped right out. Without thinking, I rushed to the window and looked out, but he had vanished into the night. I later discovered that he had entered the hospital by breaking that same window, but as to what he wanted or what he was doing there, I had no idea. It was definitely the strangest and most unexpected thing that's ever happened to me on this job. And believe me, there's more to this story, but that's for another time.